In the moments after Jesus cast out what the Gospels call demons from the man in the Gadarene tombs, something happened that no biblical scholar can explain using conventional theology. The entities did not simply leave. They begged, they pleaded. They asked permission to enter a herd of pigs rather than face what Jesus was about to do to them. The canonical texts say Jesus granted their request, but the Gnostic manuscripts that survived the church burnings reveal what actually happened in that moment. Jesus spoke a 6-letter command, one word in Aramaic that carries a frequency so devastating to archonic entities that it strips away their disguises and forces them to appear in their true form. When he spoke this word, the beings possessing the man became visible, not just to spiritual sight, but to physical eyes. The disciples saw them. The man saw them. And for the first time, everyone present understood that the forces controlling human behavior, inserting thoughts, manipulating emotions, feeding on fear and confusion, these were not metaphors or religious concepts. They were actual entities, and they could be seen. For 2,000 years, the Church has hidden this command. They removed it from every translation. They encoded it in Greek letters that obscure the original Aramaic pronunciation. They declared that only ordained clergy should attempt to confront demonic forces, conveniently making sure common believers never learned the actual words that give them power over the beings that feed on them. But the command survived in fragments, whispered through secret lineages, preserved by those who understood that the Archons' greatest weapon is invisibility and the greatest threat to their system is a human who can force them to show themselves. If you have ever felt a sudden shift in a room's energy when certain people enter, if you have ever experienced thoughts that feel invasive or foreign appearing in your mind without warning, if you have ever sensed a presence near you that you could not see but absolutely knew was there, then you have already detected archonic activity. You are already sensing what most people remain completely blind to their entire lives. And that sensitivity means you are ready for the next level, not just detecting their presence, making them visible, forcing them to reveal what they actually are, and watching them lose their power the moment they can no longer hide. You did not find this video by accident. The algorithm does not deliver this information to random viewers. Something deeper brought you here. The divine spark inside you, the fragment of monad consciousness that has never fully submitted to the Archon system, recognized the frequency of these words before your conscious mind registered what you were reading. That spark knows the command exists. That spark has used it before in lifetimes you do not remember. And tonight, that spark is going to speak it again through your voice, and you are going to see what has been feeding on you in the invisible spaces between thoughts. And if you can feel something rising in your chest right now, if there is pressure building, or sudden alertness, or the sensation of being more awake than you were 2 minutes ago, then comment the words, "I see them," below. Let me know you are here. Let me know the chosen ones are ready to force the invisible controllers into visibility. Because in the next 20 minutes, you are going to learn the 6-letter command that Jesus used to make Archons reveal themselves. You are going to understand why it works and what happens when you speak it. And you are going to use it tonight to see exactly what has been attached to your energy field, feeding on you without your conscious awareness. To understand why one word holds this power, you need to understand what the Archons actually are and how they maintain control over human consciousness. The ancient Gnostic texts describe them not as demons in the religious sense, but as rulers of the material realm, entities existing in frequency bands just beyond physical perception. They do not have dense bodies like humans. They are composed of thought patterns, emotional energy, and will, and they survive by feeding on the low-frequency emotions that humans generate: fear, rage, despair, shame, confusion. These emotional states produce energetic signatures that Archons can harvest and consume. This is not metaphor. This is the actual energy dynamic that keeps them existing. Without human emotional output, they would cease to maintain form. So their entire operation depends on keeping humans in constant states of emotional reactivity. They achieve this primarily through thought insertion. The voice in your head that criticizes you relentlessly, that is often not your voice. The sudden impulse to rage or despair that seems to come from nowhere, that is frequently not your emotion. The mental loops that play the same negative scenarios over and over, those are installed programs running on Archonic frequency. Most humans never realize these thoughts are not their own. They identify completely with every thought that appears in consciousness, believing themselves to be the thinker. This identification is exactly what the Archons require. As long as you believe you are thinking these thoughts, you will act on them, react to them, generate the emotional energy they need. But the moment you recognize that thoughts can be inserted from outside sources, that your mind can be influenced by entities you cannot see, everything changes. You start monitoring your thoughts differently. You start questioning suspicious patterns. And most dangerous to the Archons, you start looking for them. This is where the 6-letter command becomes critical. The Archons maintain power through invisibility. They operate in the space between your awareness, in the blind spots of consciousness, in the frequencies your physical eyes cannot detect. As long as they remain unseen, they can continue their manipulation without resistance. But they have one fatal weakness. They cannot refuse a direct command spoken in the true name of source authority. When someone with enough spiritual awareness speaks the words of power correctly, Archons must comply. They must reveal themselves. And the moment they become visible, even for a few seconds, their hold on consciousness weakens dramatically. Jesus understood this perfectly. He did not come to start a religion that would worship him. He came to teach the pneumatics, the spirit carriers, how to use words of power to free themselves from Archonic control. The Gospel of Mark describes multiple instances where Jesus cast out unclean spirits, but the actual mechanics of how he did it were removed from the text. What remains are vague phrases like, "He commanded them, and they left." But the Gnostic sources that preserve the uncensored teaching reveal that Jesus used specific names and specific commands that operated at frequencies Archons cannot resist. The 6-letter command is one of them. When spoken with authority and clear intention, this word creates a frequency pulse that strips away the cloaking mechanisms Archons use to remain invisible. For a brief window, usually 10 to 30 seconds, they become perceptible. How you perceive them depends on your level of spiritual sight. Some people see them as shadows or distortions in the air. Others see them as geometric patterns or as vague forms that seem to absorb light. Those with fully open spiritual vision see them in more detail. Insectoid or reptilian features, elongated forms, empty eyes. But you do not need perfect spiritual sight for the command to work. Even people with no prior experience of seeing entities report that when they speak the word correctly, they suddenly sense a presence that was invisible, becoming known, as if something that was hidden gets briefly exposed. Now place your hand on your throat, right over your vocal cords. Feel the vibration when you hum. That vibration is your voice, your instrument of power. Every word you speak sends waves through the field of consciousness around you. Most words operate at frequencies that the Archons easily tolerate. But certain words, certain sounds, vibrate at frequencies that disrupt their energetic cohesion. These words were called words of power in the ancient mystery schools. They were guarded carefully because speaking them created effects that challenged the authority structures of the time. Priests and rulers could not allow common people to have access to words that would let them see and command the invisible forces those authorities claimed to control. So the words were erased, encrypted, or declared forbidden. The The six-letter command that forces Archons to reveal themselves was treated as especially dangerous. The Church declared it could only be used during formal exorcism rituals performed by authorized clergy. They wrapped it in religious procedure specifically to prevent individuals from using it independently, because they understood that a population capable of making Archons visible, capable of seeing what was actually controlling them, would be impossible to manage. Those people would recognize the Church itself as compromised, would see the Archonic presence in religious institutions, would walk away from every system designed to keep them spiritually dependent. So the command had to be suppressed. But it survived, past teacher to student in lineages that understood its value, and tonight it reaches you. The six-letter command is Elohim, not spoken as a name to worship, but as a command invoking the authority of the divine powers. In Hebrew, Elohim is grammatically plural, meaning gods or divine powers, but it refers to the emanations of the monad, the aspects of source consciousness that exist beyond the material realm. When you speak this word as a command, you are not calling on external beings to help you. You are invoking the authority you carry as a fragment of the monad itself, declaring that the divine power within you demands the Archons to show themselves. The word must be spoken out loud, not whispered, not thought silently. It must be vocalized with force and absolute conviction. Before your mind dismisses this as too simple or tells you there must be more to it, stop. That reaction is Archonic interference. They do not want you to try this. They do not want you to discover that a single word spoken with authority can strip away their invisibility. The fact that resistance or doubt is arising in your mind right now is evidence that you are close to something real. Archons do not waste energy fighting information that poses no threat. Your doubt is their defense. Breathe through it. Stay with me. Here is exactly how to use the command to force Archons to reveal themselves. Choose a time when you are alone and will not be interrupted. Night is preferable, especially the hours between midnight and 4 a.m. when the veil between dimensions is thinnest. Sit or stand in a comfortable position. Close your eyes and take 3 slow breaths to center your awareness. Bring your attention to your chest, to the spark of monad consciousness that exists beneath your ribs. Feel that presence. Feel the divine authority you carry simply by existing as a fragment of Source. From that place of recognition, not from fear or desperation, but from sovereign authority, speak the command out loud. Say, Elohim, reveal what is hidden. Speak it loudly. Let the sound fill the space around you. As you speak, extend your awareness into the room. Pay attention to subtle shifts in the energy. Notice areas that suddenly feel denser or colder. Notice movements in your peripheral vision. Notice any sense of presence that was not there before you spoke. The Archons that have been feeding on your energy field, the ones attached to your thoughts and emotions, must respond to this command. For a brief window, usually 10 to 30 seconds, their cloaking mechanisms fail and they become partially visible to perception. What you see or sense will depend on your current level of spiritual sight, but everyone experiences something. Even people who have never seen entities before report sudden awareness of presences they did not consciously know were there. Do not be afraid of what you see. The Archons are far less powerful than they want you to believe. Their entire operation depends on you not seeing them. The moment you force them into visibility, you have already diminished their control. After speaking the command, if you sense or see a presence, speak directly to it. Say, I see you. You have no authority over me. I am sovereign. You must leave. This is not negotiation. This is declaration. You are informing the entity that it has been detected, that its invisibility is broken, and that it no longer has permission to attach to your energy field. Most Archonic entities will attempt to resist. They will try to make you doubt what you are perceiving. They will insert thoughts like "this is just imagination," or "there is nothing really there," or "you are losing your mind." Recognize these thoughts as their last defense. They are trying to convince you to dismiss your own perception because your perception is the threat. Do not engage with the thoughts. Simply repeat the command, "Elohim, reveal what is hidden," and follow with, "I see you. You must leave now." Each time you repeat this, the entity's ability to maintain attachment weakens. Within minutes, sometimes within seconds, you will feel a shift, a lightness, as if pressure you did not know you were carrying suddenly releases. That is the entity detaching. That is the Archon losing its hold and withdrawing from your field. After the entity leaves, seal your energy field. Place your hand over your heart and speak these words: "I am sealed by monad light. No Archonic presence may attach without my awareness and permission." This creates an energetic boundary that makes it far more difficult for entities to reattach without you immediately sensing them. The first time you do this practice, you may be shocked by how many presences reveal themselves. Most people carry multiple attachments, entities that have been feeding on them for years, sometimes since childhood. Each one must be addressed individually. Speak the command, force it to reveal, declare your sovereignty, command it to leave, and seal your field after. This process might take 30 minutes the first time, but once your field is clear, maintenance becomes simple. Speak the command weekly to check for new attachments and remove them before they establish deep roots in your energy system. As you continue this practice, something profound happens. You become sensitive to Archonic presence immediately. The moment an entity attempts to attach, you feel it, and you can speak the command right then, in the moment, forcing it to reveal itself before it gains any foothold. This real-time awareness makes you nearly impossible to manipulate. The Archons cannot insert thoughts or harvest emotions if you detect them the instant they approach. You become clean, clear, operating from your own consciousness rather than from programs they installed. Now here is what you must understand about what happens after you start doing this. The Archons will escalate before they give up. The first few times you force them into visibility and command them to leave, they will return with greater intensity, attempting to overwhelm you into stopping the practice. You may experience increased nightmares, sudden emotional turbulence, intrusive thoughts that are more aggressive than usual, or synchronistic events designed to make you afraid. All of this is Archonic counterattack. They are attempting to convince you that using the command makes things worse, that you should stop challenging them, that you were safer when you were blind. Do not fall for this. The escalation is temporary. It is their last effort to regain control before they lose you permanently. Continue using the command. Continue forcing them into visibility. Continue declaring your sovereignty. Within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent practice, the attacks stop. The Archons recognize you as too aware, too defended, no longer worth the effort. They move to easier targets who have not learned to see them, and you enter a state of consciousness most humans never experience. Clean, clear, free from invisible manipulation, operating as yourself rather than as a puppet, responding to inserted thoughts and harvested emotions. Right now, before you do anything else, use the command. Close your eyes. Feel the spark in your chest. Speak out loud with force, Elohim. Reveal what is hidden. After you speak, remain in silence for 30 seconds with eyes closed, paying attention to any shifts in perception or sense of presence. Do it now. If you spoke the command and sensed something, if you felt a presence or saw shadows, or simply experienced a knowing that something was there, comment, "I see them," below. Declare it. Let the other chosen ones know you are forcing Archons into visibility. Let them know the invisible controllers are being exposed across the collective field. Because when enough people learn to see what has been feeding on them, when enough consciousness forces Archons into visibility, the entire system of hidden manipulation collapses. They cannot control what they cannot hide. Subscribe to this channel immediately. Every subscription resists the suppression of this knowledge. The algorithm serves structures that depend on Archons remaining invisible. Every share passes the command to another person who has been walking through life blind to the entities attached to their thoughts and emotions. The Church banned this command because they could not maintain spiritual authority over people who could see and remove Archonic presence themselves. They needed you dependent on priests and rituals they controlled. But Jesus taught the opposite. He taught that you carry divine authority simply by being a spark of the monad, that you can command Archons directly, that no external permission is needed to free yourself from beings that have no right to be attached to you. The 6-letter command is yours now. Elohim, reveal what is hidden. Force the invisible to become visible. See what has been feeding on you. Command it to leave, and reclaim sovereignty over your own consciousness. You are not crazy. You are not imagining things. You are seeing what has always been there, but was deliberately hidden from your awareness. The Archons are real. They are attached to most humans, and they lose all power the moment you can see them. Use the command, see them, remove them, and walk free.